Welcome to the Jedi Ranger. I'm JohnBerry555, and today I would like to talk about the hunt for Ben Solo. So, if you've been living under the rock for the past week, in an interview, Adam Driver revealed that there was an idea brought forward in Lucasfilm that he was involved with that would have been a Ben Solo movie outside, set after the sequel trilogy, which actually technically would be outside the sequel trilogy, and from everything, they got some pretty good, writers and directors behind the project. I won't say their names because I will butcher it. And it sounds like they also got, very enthusiastic responses from the people at Lucasfilm. But when they went to Disney, Disney said no, or more specifically, Bob Idger said no. And this is where I think a lot of the frustration with current Star Wars is coming from. Lots of people, there's going to be those dude bros who hate everything new and hate women who are blaming it on stuff being not OT, original trilogy, and Kathleen Kennedy being in charge. Bullcrap. Those opinions are not generally, they are bullcrap. Occasionally there may be a new project that is not good, because nothing is going to be perfect, and it's going to be varying qualities. And a guy, girl, woman, man, doesn't matter. Anyone can make good pieces of art, anyone can make bad pieces of art. Ignore those people. But the thing is they have a very slight point in that I think Disney is playing things very safe. This was brought before Bob Idger. He saw how people reacted to Palpatine returning and was like, I don't understand how Ben Solo returned, therefore we're not going to do it. And pure reaction to how people saw Palpatine's return. And let's be real, that was probably one of the weaker parts of The Rise of Skywalker. And it was done in Legends as well with Dark Empire, which I've never actually read. But the point I'm bringing up here is that Disney seems to be reacting rather than being creative, for lack of a better term. Again, I don't know if I'm describing that quite right, but look at this. People would have been dunking on the prequels for decades by the time Disney acquired Star Wars. So, what's probably the one thing they told Lucasfilm when making the sequel trilogy? It must be said after the original trilogy, and must not make any overt references to the prequels. And then everyone was getting on streaming, so Disney gets on streaming. And then streaming seems to be not as profitable as they had hoped, so they're backtracking on that. And now Disney seems to be reacting rather than anything else, rather than pushing things forward, trying new things. They're just reacting. And there's still very great directors, creators, writers, all that stuff, actors who are working with and for Disney. But their accomplishments are despite Disney's corporate meddling and despite Disney's corporate wishy-washiness, I guess. Don't know if that's the best description for it, but I do think it does somewhat fit. Disney is not taking any risks as a company. And let's look at Disney's history. Walt Disney himself, he definitely took, I would say, some risks in the early days. Maybe not as much later on. Okay, I'm not as familiar with Disney's corporate history and all that as other people are, but from the general public perception, I would say that if Walt Disney was alive today, first of all, we probably would hate him a lot because of some of the values he supports. But ignoring that, and he definitely would have cut the Acolyte from even being begun pre-production. I guarantee you that. He probably wouldn't have been good, but in one way he would have been better, is I think he would have been much more willing to take a risk on a novel idea. I don't know if that's founded or not, based off of what I know about him, but I do think it's worth noting that I do feel like early Disney, led by Walt Disney himself, and even after his death, the people who succeeded him initially, I feel like there was a lot more at one time willing to take creative risks with stories, with franchises that Disney has lost. Disney has become, well, just like any other corporation, they've been for a long time. There's lots of problems with this corporate structure, mind you, a lot of problems. And one thing is that aversion to risk taking. When you look at, honestly, how capitalism has changed in America. It's gone to how can we extract as much money as quickly as possible. And that's something that does not work in a lot of industries, and it certainly doesn't work in the media industry, the entertainment industry. And Disney is taking no risks, which is going to hurt them, I think, in the long run, because if Disney keeps on this track of not taking risks, and the only successes are coming because creators were able to convince Disney that to take a risk, Disney will die a slow death as people become less and less interested in the stories, and it's happening. Um, they're one of the biggest entertainment companies. They can afford to take risks, but they don't. And The Hunt for Ben Solo, yes, it would have been a risk. It may or may not have been good. But the thing is that everyone at Lucasfilm was like, this is a great idea, very creative. We need to take this risk. And Disney was like, no, do not take the risk. And ultimately, everything with The Hunt for Ben Solo, regardless of what the story may or may not have ended up being and whether or not it would have been good, the thing is it would have been a risk, and Disney is not taking risks anymore as a company. They're reacting to everything. And all the reactions about, okay, we did this, it's not working out. What's the thing that we can do in order to minimize risk for us? And that's all they're doing. Rise of streaming. The risk, it was a great risk for them not to create a streaming service than to create a streaming service. So that's what they did. Now that streaming is turning out to not be as lucrative as they had hoped, the least risky option for them is to transition all that stuff to start making streaming series and transition to movies. Not even like, shows for television, like standard actual television shows, not rather than streaming shows. And there is a difference in how those things are formatted. So ultimately, especially when it comes to live action, Disney is not taking risks. Star Wars animation is still hitting it out the park, and same thing with publishing, and probably because Disney has less corporate meddling involved in those. So I said a lot of things there. Ultimately, do I think The Hunt for Ben Solo should have been made? I don't know. Would I have liked it? I do not know. We only have a vague idea. As they develop things could have changed from what Little Adam Driver revealed to us. But the thing is, I think it would have been worthy to continue to take that risk, to explore that story, to see if do we actually want to do it or not. And that should have been the decision of the writers, the directors, the actors involved. Lucasfilm, not Bob Idger and other Disney corporate execs who are out of touch and seem to be super risk averse. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching my video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and share. Also, consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date on all my latest content. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.